Well, I had two functions in this trip to Turkey, and I'm grateful to Turkish hospitality from the government and the people of Turkey. I had to participate in the opening of Pagwash conference on international security, regional security and dialogue. It was a very good occasion for both Iranian and Turkish officials to present their views on how they see the emerging global environment and how we see regional security in terms of cooperation between various regional players. And then I had very productive meetings with the President, the Prime Minister, and several lengthy meetings with the Foreign Minister. We exchanged views on bilateral relations. Turkey and Iran are neighbors, bound by geography and culture, common religion, common heritage. So there's vast opportunities for cooperation between Iran and Turkey. Some of them have been exploited, some remain to be realized. And we discussed all those areas in transportation, energy, trade between the two countries. And we had positive agreements on how best we can improve, expand and enhance our relations. Internal interference do not help. We need outside forces should contribute in a way to bring the parties to the conflict to the negotiating table.
I think you're talking about Syria and the Syrian conflict.
We're talking about various conflicts in this region and the fact that whatever is happening in different parts of this region, in Iraq, in Syria, in Egypt, in Bahrain, in Afghanistan, everybody should help in order to make sure that the people.
If we are going to be more specific, can we say that the differences are being softened with your latest visit and latest meetings, especially on Syria, because we know that the Tehran and Ankara administrations differ on Syrian issue?
We continue to have differences of views, probably differences of approach on how to deal with the Syrian issue, but it is important for two important regional countries like Iran and Turkey to continue talking to each other and hopefully to narrow the gap.
Do you believe that Geneva II conference will convene in the short term, and do you want to attend Geneva II conferences? Do you believe that the Syrian issue cannot be resolved without you?
It is important to support all initiatives that are working for an inter-Syrian dialogue. And in that context, Geneva II is an important initiative with the United Nations involved. We believe it should take place as soon as possible. We have told the Secretary General when we were in New York that he should convene the Geneva talks as soon as possible. We believe that all parties with influence should put as much encouragement.
How concerned you are about the sectarian violence in Syria?
We believe that sectarian violence is a major threat to the entire region and beyond the region. And that is why every responsible player in this region must do its utmost in order to bring that sectarian violence to an end. And it is important. One of the areas that the Turkish and Iranian sides agreed is that we do everything in our power.
As with your nuclear program and the negotiations, I think on the 6th and 7th of this month you'll be convening in Geneva again. And it seems like you're going to cover some distance in this regard, but P5 and +1 countries have about Iran's nuclear program. Are you hopeful about that, and do you believe that this issue can be resolved within a year?
We're not talking about conditions. We're talking about building confidence. So it's not a process of give and take. It's a process of setting common objectives and working together to reach those objectives. And from our perspective, we are ready to go to the distance because we believe it is in our interest to ensure and to convince the international community and those members of the international community who have been more active within the 5+1 that our nuclear program is best kept peaceful if it is conducted in an open, transparent fashion.
You said yesterday that leaders should act like leaders and they have to be courageous and to approve their leaders. So what I've seen as a little hint, maybe you were referring to American President Obama, and since the relations have coming to some point with the United States, how do you evaluate this and what kind of confidence building measures should be taken?
We are talking to the United States in the framework of 5+1. With the aim of resolving the nuclear issue so that an important impediment to greater participation in resolving other issues could be removed. I believe, of course, there are forces within the United States and outside the United States who do not want to see a resolution, who seek tension and mistrust and instability in order to be able to take their agenda forward. And I believe, when I said leaders should show leadership and courage, is that leaders should address the common interest and the national interest and avoid being manipulated by forces that do not seek improvement of relations. And we hope that the US administration will show that leadership within the... So it's not difficult to resolve it if we set the objective and if we show courage.
Do you find international community sincere?
There has been a rather prolonged period of basically mistrust, building upon mistrust. We need to start moving away from that perpetual mistrust and try to start to win the confidence of the Iranian people.
So 1 year is very short for that?
1 year is an ambitious objective, but we are trying to be ambitious in order to be able to move forward.
How does Iran view the latest developments in Egypt? And Morsi will stand trial on Monday. So how do you see Egypt?
We hope that the will and the desire of the Egyptian people is implemented, and we hope that conflict, tension and violence will come to an end, because we believe that tension only breeds extremism, and extremism is a threat to the entire region, not just to Egypt, against extremism and towards moderation.
Do we see intervention by Israel in Egypt?
We believe intervention by any force is absolutely unacceptable. The Israeli actions against Syria have shown that anybody's purpose, and it should be condemned whenever and however it happens.